Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you everybody for joining us. Sincere apologies for the short delay. We've had some connection issues in Oman with our guests, which is inshallah now sorted. I'm AliHusain Datoo and part of the admin team here at Oman Migration. Alhamdulillah, as many of you know, the Oman Migration Group was started roughly a month ago with individuals who are interested in migrating over to Oman coming into the group. We had our first webinar a few weeks back, which was alhamdulillah very successful. And based on that, and based on the feedback from the initial webinar, we wanted to try and have some focused webinars that will look at specific aspects of migrating to Oman. Obviously, migration is not an easy task to undergo, especially with family, especially with work commitments, and making that transition as easy as possible is something that we who have migrated would like to assist other people with. There's never going to be a place which is heaven on earth. So undoubtedly, every place one migrates to will have its challenges. Oman has its own challenges. And through the focus sessions, we wanted to try and provide professional advice, expert advice, and experience on what Oman holds for people so that everybody can make an informed decision if that's a place that they're contemplating on migrating to. Today's webinar is going to be specifically focused on business setup and taxes in Oman. And thankfully, we will be joined by individuals from Legally. Legally, I'll let them introduce themselves when they come on stage. But I've known the CEO of Legally, Ali Lawati, for some time. He's a great individual, an individual who has assisted many of our community members in migrating over to Oman through their business setups, as well as acquiring their business visas for them. I'd like to welcome Ali Lawati and also the tax expert at Legally, Deepika, to stage. I believe they're both there with us from Oman. I'm in gloomy London right now, and it'd be nice, Ali, to get some insights from yourselves, firstly about the company, about Legally, and after that, if we can begin having a brief Q&A about business setup and taxes specifically in Oman. The time right now here in the UK is around 10:40 a.m. Salah time is around 12 or just after. So we have some time, inshallah, for your brief introduction, followed by Q&A. Thank you, Ali and Deepika, for joining us. I hand the stage over to yourselves.
Thanks, Sheikh. Thanks for the introduction and thanks for giving us the opportunity. As you all know that we are here for two main reasons, as Ali said, to assist you with giving knowledge on how to have a business structure. And second, what is the tax exposure in Oman. So good morning, one and all here. And as you know, it's afternoon in Oman here. So in simple words, we would like to explain how Legally could assist you with two main points, as we said, business structure and Oman tax exposure. So going ahead, can we have the slides? Okay, going next slide. Okay, so as an introduction, I'm Deepika Rajan, an FCCA and ATT member. Along with, I've also done my diploma in VAT and transfer pricing, holding over 25 years of experience in audit taxation. Over here, we have Mr. Ali Lawati. He's the CEO of our company. He holds his master's in degree in accounting and he has EMI certification, again holding more than 30 years of experience in Sultanate of Oman. Going ahead. Now, who is Legally? And if you would like to introduce what Legally is, we are established in the year 2023. Legally is in professional providing consultancy, accountancy, tax, and it's an audit firm. We have partnered ourselves with FCCA Chartered Accountant in India, and also we are associated with our partners in GCC. Going ahead. Legally provides services in external audit, internal audit, taxation, for which we are going to explain the exposure which we are going to have if a person migrates from UK to Oman. We provide services in accounting and also company formation, where Mr. Ali will actually brief about the business setup if a person was like to migrate from UK to Oman. Going ahead, I would hand over to Mr. Ali, who will explain about the business structure and the setup within the Sultanate of Oman.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank Sheikh AliHusain Datoo to give us this opportunity to be in this webinar and to meet all the friends. Setting up the company in Oman is very simple, and everyone can set a company. Previously, there was so many complications, like you should have a local partner and something like this. Nowadays, everyone can set up the company with a foreign 100% ownership, and you can set up different type of companies. The simple company is the SPC, single person company, okay, which is normally for the small businesses, will be good for the small businesses, like somebody want to do small businesses. Normally people put up capital like 10,000 riyal, 5 to 10,000 riyal for these companies. Again, in this company, you can have a 100% foreign ownership, and it's very simple, it's structure. And if your turnover is, again, that's the tax part of it. I don't want to go and commit of it. So this is a basic and simple type of the companies. The next one will be the LLC. If we can go to the next slide. This is a very common, setup of most of the companies. Some of the people, they come and they have the partnership, like LLC company with their family members or friends or something like this. I think you can go up to 50 shareholders for this company. Limited liability company, again, is a very, very straightforward setup, and is allow, again, 100% foreign ownership company. And you can avail visa residency in this type of company, also in the SPC company as well, which we talk about it previously. The next slide. How to register the company? First of all, we need to choose the type of the company what we would like and which one will suit us. Some people prefer to have SPC, some people they prefer to have LLC. So first of all, we need to decide, and we need to choose the type of the structure of the company what we like to register. The next slide, if you go, we need to reserve the name of the company. No, I think we need to go back. Yeah, reserve the name of the company. Here it is a little bit tricky. You know that there are very common names here. So if somebody choose a name which is already available or close to some name here, then the name will be rejected. Like I remember one of customers, almost 19 names been rejected until we've been successful to just get him the name finally. So we always recommend anyone want to reserve to register the company to have more than 10 names, so at least one of them can be accepted. Then we will go to the business activities. You know that there are different business activities: import, export, IT, industry, anything. I mean, there are this, and there is a fees for each and every license. So you need to select what type of business activity you want to start with, and then you can license these activities. It's not necessary that you license everything together. You can license one, and then you can do the rest of them. Gradually, but at least you should have one active license to practice. Okay, the next one is no. Basically, we need to prepare the documents. No, if you go to the fourth slide, in how to register the company. Yeah. we need to prepare we need to have ready with all the information, shareholders, their passport, their photographs, their full name. If the shareholders are outside, there will be biometric authentication. So we need to be ready with all the details and a memorandum of association, which normally we are preparing. So we need to prepare all the documents and keep them ready. Okay. And then we'll go for the register of physical business address. Okay. We need to have a physical address like the office address. Okay. And valid email ID and a mobile number, which will be normally part of the CR. Then we'll start the process of the obtaining of the CR, okay, by submitting all the documents, and the authentication procedure will be started for the people which they are outside of the country. For the people which they are in the country is much easier, okay. The next one, after obtaining the CR, okay, we register in the Chamber of Commerce, okay. All companies must be registered in the Chamber of Commerce, and the fees is again depending on the grade. Each grade they have its own fees level. Then someone can go for the next stages, which normally is not our normal scope of work, unless if somebody require it, which is to assist in the opening of the bank account, because some people, they prefer to do it by themselves actually, because they have the valid CR and they have the Chamber of Commerce registration. So they can go to the bank and they can obtain the bank account number. The next one will be obtaining the tax card, okay, and register of the VAT. Of course, registering of the VAT, I don't want to talk about it because Deepika will be focusing on it. If your revenue reaches to a certain level, then only you need to register. Otherwise, you don't require to register. If you like to add any additional license or any additional activities, you can do anytime, okay? And then you can start applying the visa for all the shareholders and the investors, okay? Nowadays, we are talking about the shareholders for the small investment. Investor world is only for the people which they are investing 200,000 and above. Initially, it was everyone, even investing 10,000 riyal, they used to call him investor. But recently, I think 1.5 years back, it's been changed, okay? So for the small investors, okay, they are calling them shareholders, okay. And for the big investment like 200,000, which is almost $500,000 US, they've been calling them investors, and they have different categories. They have different treatment as well. And after that, you can start your business operations, because you have everything available with you, all the legal documents, CR, Chamber of Commerce, tax card, and then a bank account. Then you can start your operations. Yeah. Can we go to the next one, which is the visa? Okay. Company visa requirements. Okay. Normally the visa or the residency is given for 2 years. Okay. Again, here I would like to say for the big investors, they can go up to 10 years, which if they fulfill some conditions. But the type of the small companies we are talking about is only 2 years. Can I see the slide? Yeah. And every 2 years it will be renewable. Then, of course, when you have the residency, you need to obtain the residence card, which should be 30 days from the day of arrival. And all the visa holders or any residency holders, they should not stay out of Oman for more than 6 months. Otherwise, you will lose your residency and you need to apply again for it. Like you need to pay all the fees again and here. So every 6 months, you need to be here. I mean, before end of 6 months. From the day you exit the country, you need to be back here before 6 months. both visas, I mean, of residency, of course, it allows you to multiple entry at any time. You can enter, leave without any restrictions, without any other conditions. Can we go to the next one, please? Visa renewal. This is, again, we said it's up to 2 years. Okay, you can start the process of the renewal like 2 months before the end of the visa. Okay, and again, it will be renewed for another 2 years. Okay, and basically it is the same rule. Your CR should be valid, and you, I mean, it's again, the password should be valid, and your current residency, because you are already is a renewal. Okay, and family information, if you want to obtain also family to be joined you. So it's very simple, basic procedure. Again, multiple entries allowed, and investment, like your CR should be remain active, and the CR should not be expired. Your Chamber of Commerce license should not be expired. If it is expired, you need to renew all this document prior to the renewal of your residency. Okay, can we go to the next one? Okay. Oman is suffering from a lot of Omanis. They have looking for a job. The country have a lot of challenges. This is why, okay, the country imposed that every CR at least should have one Omani employee working. I mean, like, if you are maintaining a CR, if you're maintaining a company in Oman, should have at least one Omani working with you. They allow normally grace period between 6 months to 1 year, but ultimately, if you complete 1 year, so you need to have one Omani staff working with you. You can utilize him in any type of service, admin, marketing, whatever service. IT is depending on your activity, but you should at least have one Omani staff working with you. Otherwise, there could be the penalties and challenges, and you might not be able to operate smoothly. I mean, yeah, basically, I think I talk about everything here. Okay, so let us go to the next one. The payroll should be through a system called WPS, Wages Protection System. This imposed, I think, 1 year back. It was before, but it was not compulsory. Now it is compulsory that all the companies should pay the wages through Wages Protection System. Basically, this is a system through the banks. Okay, there you need to pay to all your employees, Omani and non-Omani, because there have been also sometimes some complaints from non-Omanis, which is basically from the construction companies, not the labor not getting their salary, if the contractor getting his dues late, or there is any delay to receive his year. So, and then there have been complaints from their countries and here. So they started the wages protection system to make sure that the salary is being paid at least maximum by 3rd of the next month. Like, for example, 3rd of January, by 3rd of January, December salaries must be paid. Okay, you cannot pay it afterwards. If you are paying it after that, you need to pay a penalty. I think 50 riyal or something like this. Okay, and this is also to just make sure that about the number of labors you have, about non-Omani labor. So there have been a lot of, a lot of issues with this system for what they impose the system, actually, a lot of requirements. So most of the companies now paying through this system, and you need to have a valid bank account, and you need to have online banking. And then it's basically, it is Excel forms which you need to upload by end of every month, and then make the payment to the employees. And it's very straightforward. If you pay through the WPS, it's not taking more than 2 minutes, and all the employees receive their salaries immediately despite they have a different account, not in the same bank, maybe their bank accounts are in different banks, but everybody maximum within half an hour can get the salaries. Salaries must be paid according to the employment contract. You cannot have the agreement for 1,000 riyal, for example, salary, and then you pay 500 riyal or 600 riyal. Any additional work, okay, or anything, you need to pay overtime according to the agreement you have with the employee. And off days tariff is much higher than the normal days tariff for the overtime. We said, okay, again, okay, failure to company may result penalties. We already said if you are not using WPS, like paying by direct check or here, okay, you may be penalized for that. We talk about the rest of the things. I think employees must register with approved bank to implement the WPS. Okay, of course, the employees should have a valid bank account so they can receive the salaries in time and according to the WPS system. Okay, next one, please. Of course, then business in Oman is all according to the Omani commercial law, okay, which is, regulated by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, okay. And as we said before, it's allowed 100% foreign investment. There is no restrictions anymore. Business must obtain CR. You cannot work from your home. You cannot do business from your home without proper CR, okay? And of course, companies must comply with the tax and VAT if you require to do, if you fulfill this category. Certain sectors are subject to Omanization. Some of the professions like accountants, like engineers, like this type of fortunes are no more allowed for any expat to avail it. So because of the Omanization restrictions, so there's a lot of business which we can share with you later. I think there are almost 40 professions are not allowed, and it is only limited to the Omanis only. A company formation may require initial approval. Some of the companies require formation like engineering, like industrial require other license, industrial license. If you want to avail tax exemption for any industry investment, again, this requires separate license, separate approval. Then finally, non-compliance with any legal or regulatory requirements can result in fines and license suspension or penalties, and like this. Next one. Now tax, I will leave it to Deepika to talk about the tax part.
Thank you, Mr. Ali. Thanks for explaining the business structure in Oman. So now going ahead with tax, a very interesting topic. I really love the subject. So in Oman, we have four types of taxes. One is corporate tax, value-added tax, withholding tax, and personal income tax, which is not yet started. The inception of it is going to be in the year 2028. Going ahead, we are going to talk first about corporate tax. The corporate tax percentage in Oman is 15%. So what are the requirements in order to file for your corporate tax return within the Sultanate of Oman? The filing for that is within 4 months from the year end. So for example, if the year end is 31st of December, you need to file your returns by April 2026. It applies to all companies, so it does not matter whether it's a dormant company or a permanent establishment, a branch. All the companies has to file for their returns within 4 months from the year end. What are the documentation period to be maintained in Oman? So the documentation is up to a period of 10 years, which you need to maintain within the Sultanate of Oman. Going ahead. Okay, now in corporate tax, we have 3 percentages. One is 15, which we already went through. One is a reduced rate, 3%. Now, who can avail the 3%? So there are 3 criteria which you need to mandatory follow. One, your revenue should be below the threshold of 150,000 riyals. Your share capital should be below 60, and there should be fewer than 25 employees. What are the filing requirements for filing for the reduced rate? It is 3 months from the year end. We do not require statutory audit while filing for your reduced rate. So you need only management accounts, which needs to be stamped by a statutory auditor within Oman, and you need to file it within 3 months from the year end. It is then you can avail for the 3% reduced rate. Going ahead, the happy one, everybody would love to go for the 0% rate. Almost the criteria are the same. The only difference between the two are that the company needs to have either an Omani partner who should be full-time or 2 Omani staff members. So whoever would avail these facilities would fall under 0% tax rate. Same, the filing requirements is within 3 months from the year end. Again, you do not need a statutory audit. You just need it to be stamped and reviewed by a statutory auditor within the Sultanate of Oman. So by the reason I'm emphasizing on by the statutory auditor within Oman, you have to remember that auditors within Dubai or other GCC countries will not be applicable. It should be only be reviewed and stamped by the statutory auditors within the Oman. Going ahead. Okay, so what are the compliance and the other considerations? So people who set up their companies first in Oman, so your first year could extend up to 18 months. I'm emphasizing again, it's only the first year and not in the later years. So let's say if you have 12 months and would like to have the second year as 18 months, it's not applicable. It's only for the first year. Penalty would apply for late filing and non-compliance. So if you do not file on time, there is a late filing penalty for non-complying it. As I said, for 15%, an audited financial statement is required, and tax return must be filed annually with the tax auditors. So you have to remember, even if your company is dormant, you do not have an operation. Let's say you have decided to move from UK to Oman, and you decided to do a particular operation, and you realize in the first year you have not done any operations within Oman. You have to remember that you need to file for nil filing as a tax return at the end of the year. Going ahead. Okay, now that we are done with the income tax, moving to VAT. So I would just like to take you through the VAT which is there in GCC. So the GCC framework gets developed only when all the 6 countries come together. So as of now, we are still awaiting for Kuwait and Qatar to get into VAT. So starting with the countries we started with VAT is UAE and KSA. They started in 1st January 2018. UAE implemented tax at 5%. KSA implemented also at 5%, but they increased to 15% in the year 2020. Later, Bahrain implemented VAT on 1st January 2019, again with 5%. Oman implemented VAT on 16th April 2021, again with 5%. So they have not increased their percentage. The GCC rule says that you can increase your percentage after implementing VAT after 3 years. So there is a scope, and there could be a decision where any of the GCC countries could move from 5 to 15%. As of now, Oman is at 5%. The mandatory threshold for registering VAT in Oman is 38,500. As I said, Kuwait and Qatar have delayed their VAT. We hopefully hope that they start in the year 2026. Going ahead. Okay, value-added taxable supplies. So there are 2 types of supplies. One is the taxable supplies and one is the non-taxable supplies. So in taxable supplies, we only have 2 types of supplies. One is standard rated supply, 5%, and one is 0 rated. In UK, we have 3 suppliers, which is standard rated, which is 20, reduced rate at 5, and 0 rated. So in Oman, we do not have a reduced rate. Our non-taxable supply is very similar to UK. We have an out-of-scope supply and an exempt supply. So as we know, the VAT, the recovery, you cannot recover your input VAT. In taxable supplies, you can claim your input VAT. So it's a supply of goods and service for consideration. There's no separate laws for, the only separate laws for the free zone for the taxable supplies. If you supply goods to a free zone company, it would be a 0 rated, provided certain conditions are met, and you can recover the entire input VAT. Going ahead. Okay, now that we are done with VAT, we move ahead for withholding tax. That's quite an interesting subject over here. What is withholding tax, and what are the different types of services which falls under withholding tax? So the companies who do not have a permanent establishment in Oman are subjected to withholding tax of to 10% of the gross income. So let me give an example. For example, like McDonald's. McDonald's UK would like to come into Oman and provide their services. And let's say I'm using the name of McDonald's. So Oman is paying royalty to McDonald's in UK. So Oman will withhold 10% of the amount before paying the amount to the withholding tax, before making a payment to withholding tax in UK. Now, is it 10% or can we even go for a reduced rate? So yes, we can go for a reduced rate provided we have a double taxation treaty. Now that's something we'll go on to it next slide. The next question which arises, can you go back? Next question which arises, when do I pay withholding tax? Withholding tax is paid within 14 days at the end of the month in which the tax is deducted or the payment is due. So for example, if I have an invoice in Jan, when do I pay a withholding tax? You need to pay the next following month within the 14 days. So by 14th of Feb, you need to pay withholding tax to the tax authority. So you have to remember, it's not at the end of the year end, the way we file for our annual tax. It is at every month. So if there's an invoice in June, you have to remember by 15th of July, you have to pay withholding tax. It does not matter which date in June, but whichever date from June, the next following date is when you pay the withholding tax. Now, withholding tax is on which services? So if you see, there's royalties, consideration for research and development, right to use computer software, management fee, and provision for services. This provision of service withholding tax applicability started only in the year 2017. But it's a very open-ended, so there are some excursions which will go in the following slide and tell you that these services do not fall under withholding tax. Going ahead. Okay, so there are 7 of them. One is participating in the organization and seminar. So for example, if there's a JITAX in UAE, and if I have done a seminar, if I am holding an exhibition, then there is no withholding tax. But if I visit the exhibition, then it falls under service and it falls under withholding tax. So it's a small tricky area where you have to be careful on when there is a thin line between holding an exhibition and visiting an exhibition. Training is an out of scope. It does not fall under withholding tax. Freight, air ticket and accommodation expenses, boat sitting fees, reinsurance, and any other service related to property outside of Oman. So these withholding tax exemptions, they do not fall under withholding tax. Going ahead. DDT agreements and their requirements. So double taxation treaty we have with UK, where we have a reduced rate of 0% on services with UK. So in order to avail the reduced rate of withholding tax, you would have to provide tax residency certificate and certain proper documentation which needs to be provided to the tax authority. So you can avail 0% withholding tax on services, while we have 8% towards royalties, 0% towards interest and dividends, though we have no withholding tax on interest and dividends in Oman. Oman has a double taxation treaty with 39 countries. So UK, Canada is one of them. In GCC, only Qatar is the only country which we are having a double taxation treaty. UAE and US does not have double taxation treaty. We can share the link with the team and provide a list of double taxation treaty. As of now, we are associated. Oman is having a double taxation treaty with 39 countries. Going ahead. Personal tax. So personal tax, we do not have. Oman does not have personal income tax in the year 2026 and 2027. So there's no personal tax on individuals. The salaries and wages are tax-free. It applies to both Omani nationals and expatriates. There's no tax returns which needs to be filed. The government collects their taxes only through corporate tax, VAT, and withholding tax. Going ahead. Expatriates and personal income. So benefits in kind may be provided by the employer, but again, they are tax exempt. There's only PASI for Omani employees, that is pension, only catering for Omanis. There's no withholding tax, which is applied to salaries. Investment income, such as dividend, interest, and capital gain. So if you have a property, you want to sell it, there's no tax on that. Rental income. So if you have a property, you want to put it on a rent, become an investor, go to Almuj, pick up a property, and you want to give that for rental. Again, rental income is tax-free. Gifts and inheritance are also not subjected to personal tax. Going ahead. Now, what's going to happen in personal tax in 2028? So we have a royal decree, which is 56/2025, and is going to be effective from 1st January 2028. We have been provided with a personal VAT law, but we are yet to receive an executive regulation against the personal income tax law, which is yet to come. So we have got a brief view from the tax authority on where and what we are subject for personal tax. So the personal tax rate, which has been applied, is 5%, which is over and above the 42,000 riyals. So if a person earns anything above 42,000, they will be subjected to 5% tax rate. This is applied to everyone here, Omani nationals and expatriates with a resident visa. Deduction is also allowed on social contribution, housing, education, and healthcare. An annual tax return needs to be filed and given to the tax authority annually. Going ahead. Okay, now that we are done with taxation, I hope I was able to give clarity on what are the taxes which are applicable in Oman. So how Leadally could assist you. So we can provide you end-to-end business and financial support, where Leadally provides services in external audit, internal audit. Mr. Ali himself helps into audit plus custom registration. I am myself qualified for more than 23 years in taxation, so we can assist you with statutory tax audits. We provide internal audit services. We provide business advisory, financial consultancy, and ongoing projects. So we are more than happy to assist. If anybody has any Q&A questions, me and Ms. Ali are here to assist you and provide you more insight on the queries which you would have.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Ali and Deepika, for the informative presentation. It's garnered quite a few questions, which I hope we can go through with yourselves. Just to give a brief overview then. So setting up a company in Oman is fairly straightforward. You mentioned, Ali, a few different grades that are possible. Could you give an overview of what these grades were and why somebody would choose a particular grade over another one?
Well, for example, we have grade A, we can call it, which is the top grade, okay, the superior, the grade 1 to 4, okay. Normally, for the company, if any investor entitled to enter in big businesses or something like this, or involved in the tendering for the government, for the big company, oil companies here, then always we recommend to go for grade A, because you don't expect that you will register the company in grade 4, which the capital is 10,000 riyal, and you will be entitled to receive a tender of 1 million Riyal Omani or 2 million Riyal Omani. Nobody will do that. So we have grade A, and then grade 1, grade 2. Of course, the structure is like this. The government fees are vary from grade to grade. For example, let me give you the example. Okay, this is the only government charges, and this is subject to change. This is, and as of today, these rates are valid, but I don't know. Okay, for example, grade A, if only one residency is there, okay, then you are going to pay 1,350 Riyal. For grade 1, you will pay 1,000 Riyal. For grade 2, you will be paying 900 Riyal. For grade 3, you will be paying 850 Riyal. And for grade 4, you are paying 750 Riyal. Okay? So this is including the CR and the Chamber of Commerce registration, and one license and one residency for one person. Of course, each person residency, you need to add approximately 400 Riyal Omani.
Okay, so the cost obviously will vary depending on how many shareholders are present within a company, and depending on the grade that you register the company in.
And the number of the license you want. For example, some license are 50 or are costing 25 Riyal Omani. Some license which is professional, for example, might cost 500 Riyal Omani, 600 Riyal Omani, depending on the license and the activities you are planning to practice.
Perfect. So in the UK, we call it SIC codes that are placed on the company registration certificate. So depending on the number of activities that a company wants, they'll be paying per activity, that they'll be paying per shareholder as well, and then they'll pay according to the class that they've registered in. Is that a good overview? Yeah. Okay. You mentioned about the capital. So there's a different capital per class. Does the capital have to be put up from the onset of registration? Is there a grace period of investing that amount over time, or is it just a paper entry over here?
No, you are not. It's not necessary that you pump the full capital from day one. I mean, like, for example, if you register a company in grade A, which normally your capital should be 200K and above, or 250K, I'm not sure exactly. But I mean, you don't require to just, just put the full money from day one. Still, you can transfer the money when and whenever you require. Like, for example, you can transfer 50,000 Riyal Omani, the initial stage, and whenever you require, the shareholders can add additional money. Okay, and this can be completed, I think, within the next 2-3 years, actually.
Excellent.
Yeah. And the accounting treatment will be, because normally you should put the capital cash. Since the cash will be not available, so the difference will be debit in the shareholder accounts to remain as a liability on the shareholders.
Excellent. Especially when there's a large amount of capital going in. We have quite a few community members who have visited Oman looking at manufacturing. Are there free zones in Oman, and are there benefits to these free zones aside from what you've mentioned so far?
Well, there are a lot of free zones. We have in Suhar free zone, we have Salala free zone, we have, I think, in Nizwa also the free zone. But also there are a lot of, incentives if you are investing in the industry. You can be exempted from the income tax for 5 years, actually. If your investment is 1 million, I think, 1 million Riyal and above, then you can be exempted from the income tax. Then you can be exempted from the custom duty as well. Like if you are importing any raw material for your industry, or any packing material, any type of product you can import for your industry, you can be exempted from the custom duty of 5%. Of course, there are certain requirements you need to fulfill. But even outside of the free zone, okay, you can avail all these advantages. Why I personally prefer this one, okay, to invest not in the free zone, because the whole GCC market and all the 22 Arab countries will be open for you. You can get a GCC certificate, so you can export your products to Saudi, to Kuwait, without paying any custom duties, without any restrictions at the borders. And you can at the same time also export to Arab countries, 22. Again, there is a different the certificate of origin you can obtain from the Ministry of Commerce. And I think out of 22 countries, at least 17 or 18 countries, you can export without paying any custom duty, like Tunisia, Egypt, other things. If you are in the free zone, you will be not able to avail any of this this type of incentives, because you are not paying, you are not in the tax zone.
Understood. Okay, so there's a pros and cons of being within the free zone. Obviously, there'll be a corporation tax holiday, income tax holiday, but somebody will have to do their due diligence quite well before making such a decision.
Yes, yes.
You mentioned about visas and shareholders. So once I have set up a company in Oman, if I'm a shareholder, or let's say two of us are shareholders, can we avail visas for our families just based on being a shareholder? And are there any restrictions to the family members that can be sponsored by myself as a shareholder?
See, is again depending if you have a small company like grade 4 company, and then you require to have like 6-7 people, maybe sometimes unless they are family members, then I don't think so. Like if you prove they are your family members, wife, father, mother, children here, then there is no issue. But if you like some other relatives, or if you want to add to some employees, okay, or and have, I mean, expat, then to be not that simple, that easy for a small type of company grade 4 to have 2, 3, 4 labor clearances and something like this. But big company grade 2, grade 1, and A companies, they can have very simply, very easy, even business type of visa, like if you want to call somebody for business or for here, so you can get the express visa for them, so they can come here for the business type. For example, grade 4, grade 3 will be very difficult to call anybody here for the business purpose, unless they come on their normal visa. If the country is, if the nationality is allowed them to enter to Oman without visa, or if they can avail the visa at the airport. But to get them business type of visa, the company should have at least grade 2 and above. For the family joining, I think there is no issue. You can have always family joining with any grade of the company.
Perfect. And just to clarify, by family here, we mean mother, father, spouse, and children.
Yes, direct ones, yes.
Sure. A lot of people who will be wanting to move from the US, from the UK, would probably have remote jobs, or they'll have their own company set up abroad, and they'll have their income coming into Oman. Is there a different method of setting up a remote-only business? Can I set up an online business in Oman? Is that something that's possible? Do I still have to employ an Omani even though my company is in the UK and I'm invoicing from Oman? Are those restrictions that you mentioned about Omanization and employing at least one Omani still present even if my business is abroad?
Yes, if you are availing any valid CR in Oman, you must have one Omani employee, regardless you work online or you have an office or you don't have an office. That is another issue.
Okay, and does every activity require physical office in Oman as well?
See, normally a company should have their office, and here there are all small offices. You don't it's not necessary you have a big office like where 200-300 riyal. You can have one like Regas and all these companies which they have small room 2x3 which you can pay 70-80 riyal every month. So, but normally, I think for most of the activities, okay, and you should have the company office. Actually, you require. For example, if you want to renew your employee's visa, okay, the company should have location. The company should have premises which they operate from.
So there's no such thing like a sole trader, that somebody can just be on their own, not having to employ anybody in Oman. Even if they've set up as a sole trader, they still will have to employ an Omani national, at least one. Is that correct?
No, you have to employ Omani national.
Perfect. Ali, you touched upon costs in terms of setup, and I know they were quite varied depending on the type of class and number of shareholders. Could you also give us a rough idea of how long it would take to set up a company? So if somebody provided you the documentation you required today, roughly how long would it take? A ballpark figure, and also ballpark costs. What should they be budgeting?
See, the company, registering the company, it can be very fast, actually. It can be also 2-3 days, actually. Sometimes it's very, very, very unnecessarily issues, like the name of the company. You remember one of the cases we had about 18, 19 names being rejected. So this is why we lost 1 week or 10 days for that. But if the name is okay, if you have a unique name, for example, and it's been approved, then I think everything should be very straightforward. Maybe 2-3 days, and you can register the company.
And that includes the visa process for the shareholders as well?
No. Once you finish with this one, once you finish this one, then we can apply for the visa, which normally, again, is taking a few days more. So technically, 15 days maximum, you can have everything.
Okay, excellent. I did touch upon this briefly.
Unless sometimes some specific companies, Ministry of Commerce require some business plan, like some of the activities. Okay, they require a business plan, especially those activities which is having some professions or something like this. So sometimes they are asking for the business plan from the shareholders, what they are planning, some small marketing study or feasibility study, which normally takes few days, okay, to prepare it and then to submit it and then get the approval. Of course, this is additional cost, which costing about 200 riyal, 250 riyal, if it is required.
Perfect. I know we touched upon names very briefly right now, and you mentioned in your presentation as well. One of the individuals has asked online, how easy would it be to change the name of a company once it's already been selected? So if they registered a company name, later on 6 months down the line they want to change it, how easy is that process?
Very simple. There will be a board resolution, the partner resolution. There will be, we would like to change the name of the company, and they sign, all of them, they will sign it, and then we submit it, and we will obtain the news here. Absolutely. If the name is approved again by the ministry, okay, then it's simple, not complicated at all. And this is what we advise our people, that okay, if they are in a hurry, okay, maybe we can select for them the name, okay, and then they can change the name, but they want to do it afterwards.
Okay. You touched upon, and both of you talked about Omanization. That is understood, and it's something great for the country, and especially for the citizens, to ensure that there's a push for job availability for all of them. As foreigners coming in, obviously it seems a bit restrictive for us to set up our companies, not being able to do everything that we may wish to do. Is there a concise list that is present online? Is this continuously developing? Is it a dynamic list changing? Or is there something that we can actually look at? Or is it something you can provide us with?
For Omanization, you mean?
Yeah, specifically about the activities that are coming in that would restrict opening up companies.
This is only for the jobs. If you want to bring some expat to work in Oman, the restrictions is for them. If you are the owner, for example, you are managing your company, and you can do the account. You can do the accounting of your company if you can do that. If you are engineer, okay, and you are a shareholder, of course you can do the engineer work for your company. But it's only restricted that if you want to appoint some employees, some activities are restricted to the Omani. This is why some people, what they do, if they must to have this one, they give some small share to those people, and they treat them as a shareholder.
So it's restrictive only in terms of employees. So if it's an accountancy firm,
I mean, like accountancy is one of the type of the activities which is restricted to Omanis. Okay. Yeah. So a lot of other professions also are restricted to the Omanis. But for you, okay, if you are a accountant, for example, okay, and you want to register the company, nobody will stop you from doing your own company accounting. But you cannot do other company accounting, okay? But you can do your own company accounting, for example. But if you want to appoint an accountant, for example, from India, from other, you'll be not able to get the labor clearance for that, because this job is restricted to the Omanis.
So if I wanted to open an accountancy firm as a foreigner, that would be a restricted activity, not something I could do. If I went into partnership with an Omani national, then we could open an accountancy firm together.
You can do that, yes.
And there might be certain restrictions on applying for an expat visa for a particular position in the company, such as the CFO, as an example.
See, that I can talk very, very easily, because we are our own company. Okay. For example, I'm the owner of the company. Deepika is the partner. I mean, for you, for example, to register an accountancy firm in Oman, you are not allowed unless you have a Omani partner. Okay. And you should obtain the license in your name, and your partner is also should obtain the license in his name. And then you can form LLC company, and according to the percentage, what you agree in the amount. I mean, this is so some type of activities are restricted to the Omanis, and some of them is required partnership. Again, engineering, designing, all these professions are required that you should have one partner, local partner. But you can register import-export company, okay? You can register IT company, for example, okay? All this type of license are openly available for everyone.
Perfect. Sorry to push you on this, just because there's a specific question about it. So let's say I'm ACCA qualified. Would I be able to get a job in your firm, or would that position of being an accountant be restricted?
If he is FCCA, yes, he can get a job in an audit firm or any other company as a chartered accountant, okay, because of the profession he's holding. But a normal accountant, for example, anybody graduate from bachelor degree or something like this, he cannot apply for a job, only accountant job or something like this. This is only for Omanis. But chartered accountant is still open and available.
Perfect. As you know, Ali, we have many of our community members from Africa who hold nationality of different African countries. There seems to be a restriction on them getting a visit visa. Are the same restrictions in place in them opening a company? Can, for example, a Tanzanian national open a company, or is that going to be restrictive due to their nationality?
No, I don't think so. A lot of Tanzanian people are having companies here and they are working. No issues at all. I think rather Oman and the Tanzanian relationships are very good.
Sure. So it might be just a visit visa issue, whereas opening a company and getting the families over as well. I know there's a few questions about Pakistani nationals as well. Provided it's a company structure, there's no issue.
This is some special circumstances which people come here not for the business purpose. They are trying to get the CR grade 4, and then they come here, they beg on the roads, or they go to the mosque and they go to the here. So the government put these restrictions on some countries actually.
Perfect.
But if
you spoke about a maximum of, I believe it's around 50 shareholders in a company. Obviously, it doesn't make much business sense and economic sense for the country to have one company with 50 shareholders and all of them bringing in their families, especially if the company isn't making much of a profit and providing much back into the economy. Are there restrictions on how many shareholders can bring their families in?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think, because the law is allowing you up to 50. It's okay. I don't think so. Yeah.
Okay.
If you register the company, we have all the documents that this is our family members, suppose our children's here, birth certificates, and then I don't think anybody can stop you, because you invested in the country according to the law and rules and regulations, and this is your right.
Okay. In other GCC countries, it's not stipulated just as a flat number, but rather a tier of how many people you have to employ who are citizens. So, for example, if your employees go above 25, then you need to now employ 2 citizens. Do we have a tier system in Oman, or is it just a flat one individual?
No, there is no such system. I don't hear about such system in Oman. Nothing.
So I could have, for example, 100 employees, but provided I had 1 Omani citizen, would that be okay?
You mean, no, I mean, it's not like this, or also actually, I mean, that will be too much. Like if you have 100, you might have 5, 10, something like this actually. Yes. But you cannot just 100 with only 1 Omani or something. And
So
technically, you will be requiring Omanis actually. You will be requiring drivers, you will be requiring admin staff. So by default, you are going to have 5 to 10 employees. If your company size will be 100 employees, okay, by default, you are going to have, because some of the professions are not allowed. So by default, there will be Omanis.
Brilliant. Is there some sort of auditing process that every company gets audited after a number of years?
You mean audit from the accounting point of view, or from what, or from compliance? You know?
From compliance point of view.
Compliance is depending. They will check if you renew your employee's visa. They will just check whether you are paying the salaries on time or no. You have rent agreement. You have, I mean, for the office, you are here. If the things are straightforward, they will do. But for the small companies, LLC company, there is no such compulsory requirement that you should obtain the certificate that you are complied with all the regulations. This is only for the SAOG company, for the public listed company.
Okay. There's a question here with regards to a single mother migrating over. I've experienced it myself when you go to schools, as an example. It's quite a patriarchal society, so they want all the children to be under the father's registration, under the father's name, and even the mother would then be attached in the entire school system to the father. Is it easy for a single mother to also migrate over? Are there any further checks that are done on individuals like that? Or is it fine? It doesn't matter if it's a single man or a single woman, the process would be the same, even if they came with children?
I don't think so. I don't think there should be restrictions, but maybe you can check about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Just a few more questions, and I think we're pretty much done on our side. Coming back to Omanization, somebody's asking if they wanted to just provide bookkeeping services and no statutory audit services. Would that be something that they could open up as a business, or would that also be restricted?
No, that is restricted to the accountancy firm like Auditors and here. So you should have the license for that. You cannot do it.
Okay, perfect. And dormant companies, I presume that's also not something that is acceptable in Oman, to have a company that is just dormant year on year without any activity and just availing the license.
No.
Yeah. So those people who are thinking of moving over, they either need to come as an individual who is employed by a company, or they will start a business and ensure that the business is actually active within a
Yes,
year.
at least some movement should be there. I mean, you cannot open the CR and then you don't have the bank account, for example. There is no single business. I mean, okay, maybe 1 year it can be fine, but I think on the long run, this will not good look. It will show that you are not here for the business.
Perfect. This question might not be pertaining to you specifically, but if you have any advice on it, that would be very helpful. With regards to investment in property, is it possible to open a company that then owns property in Oman? And can I then run a property business under a company?
I need to check about it. I'm not sure. Maybe if these questions which not answered, if you can share them with us by mail, we can check and we can come back to you.
Perfect, no problem. We shall do that. Ali, you mentioned about 200,000. Just to clarify that is with regards to either putting into a class 1 company, but one can also avail a golden visa based on 200,000 Omani Riyal investment. But that is a different topic that we haven't touched today. But just to clarify, 200,000 into a company, would that also avail a golden visa, or are there different restrictions to a golden visa?
No, 200,000 if you physically invest, like you transfer the money to the bank, like you bought a factory, you bought something here, okay, or you bought a investment here. so you can avail the golden visa. But I'm talking about just registering of company with grade A. So your capital is 200,000, but you paid only 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. So you are still a normal shareholder. You are not golden visa.
Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time, for your presentation. Apologies, Deepika, not many questions came through with regards to taxation. So I think you were very thorough in your presentation. Covered all of that.
Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity.
No, thank you for your time. And I know that time isn't free, but I really appreciate you assisting all the community members who are present, and not only present live with us right now, but also watch the video later on. Ali, if it's okay with you, we'd also like to share your contact details with the group so that if they'd like to get in touch with you for any assistance in moving over, registering their companies, and further than that with their accountancy work, if that's okay, we'll do that.
I will share another number with you, okay? And okay, the email ID you have already. I will share another number with you. Okay,
excellent.
It is also my number, so they can communicate with you. Okay?
Excellent. I really appreciate your time then, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much to give us this opportunity. Thank you, Sheikh Ali.
Inshallah.
Wish you all the best. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much to the admins for assisting with the slideshow presentation. I wanted to just give an overview as we wrap up from what I've understood from opening up a business in Oman, what has been shared with us today, just to make sure things are clarified. And there's a few pending questions just to give some insight on that as well. Ali talked about Omanization and how there are certain restrictions based on activities as well as particular job roles. There is an online platform where you can actually find different activities, whether or not they're restricted. We'll try and put that on the group as well. So please keep looking at that, and inshallah we'll add the link there. With regards to setting up a company, many people that I know have used different business agencies, including accountancy firms like Leaderly as well. The process has been pretty straightforward. They've had to provide their personal documentation in terms of their passports, marriage certificates, birth certificates, and the like, standard documentation that you would expect. The process, like Ali mentioned, for some it's quite quick. It can take a few days just to register a business, but then the visa sometimes can have some difficulty just because of the different documentation. Sometimes they might even start asking for bank account statements as well. So I would recommend somebody gives around 2 months as a standard figure to be pending for your visa to come through. And then once your visa comes through, you then enter the country on that business visa. That business visa is then changed to a residency card, and then you're free to start business and open your bank accounts as well. Ali touched upon golden visa at the end in our Q&A. A golden visa just came down recently. Actually, the amount you have to put up for a golden visa used to be 500,000. In August, it came down to 200,000 Omani Riyal, and there are a number of different opportunities that you can invest in. Foreigners can buy freehold properties within an ITC, an integrated tourism complex. If you buy a property within a tourism complex that is 200,000 Omani Riyal or more, you can avail a 10-year golden visa. Or if you split up the investment of 200,000 in different avenues, for example, government bonds as well are one of the avenues that you can invest in. Let's say you put 100,000 into a government bond, you put 100,000 into a property, provided the accumulative total is 200,000 Omani Riyal, you can also avail a golden visa. A golden visa gives you certain perks. For example, 10 years on the validity of your residency. You're not restrictive in terms of how often you have to come back to Oman. It just has to be within the 10-year period. Your children of any age can get a visa based on your golden visa. Whereas if you're a shareholder in a company, the children are normally seen as your dependents if they're under the age of 21 and not married. As soon as the child is above that age threshold or that they're married, then they're no longer seen as your dependents and they need to be on their own visas. The other perk of a golden visa, and one of the major perks, is that you can buy one residential property outside of an ITC as a foreigner in your name, provided it's not in a security zone. So if I wanted to buy in Qurum, for example, where I can't buy as a foreigner, if I have a golden visa and provided the property that I'm looking at is not within a security zone, then I can also purchase that property as a freehold in my name, 100% ownership as a foreigner because of my golden visa. I believe Ali covered pretty much everything else, and Deepika was quite thorough in her analysis of taxation. Any other questions that do come through on Slido, we shall try and present it to them and give them some time to get back to us. I would like to thank you for joining. Again, thanks to the admins for setting all of this up between London and Oman. And Ali will be sharing his details with us soon, which we shall put on the group as well. Another thing we'd like to do, just as the admins of the Oman Migration Group, is try and facilitate for very specific webinars. Today's was like to know about taxation and business setup. We'll try and put a poll out for the next one. Hopefully, we'll try and arrange it within a month's time or so. There have been comments and feedbacks of individuals wanting to know about schooling, individuals wanting to know about communities in Oman, religious communities, pastime in Oman. What else in terms of activity are there to do in Oman? Other people have come back and wanting to know about further investments in Oman. So it could be between properties, it could be education, it could be just lifestyle in Oman. We'll put up a poll, and if you could please get back to us at your earliest, inshallah, that will assist us in arranging the next webinar. With that, I'll end. I thank you once again for joining. I hope it's been of benefit. And I thank Ali and those at Leaderly for giving us their time as well. Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.